Yeah, man. Welcome to the Yotas 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 podcast, where we talk about everything Toyota.
See what we can find out about this Japanese truck.
Adventure stories.
Lance got the fucking COVID, so fuck.
No. Yeah, I'm cooking your food with COVID.
Rigs.
I'm accessorizing on the trail. Or some shit came loose, I'm just trying to tighten it.
Anything that has the T on it, we love it.
What happens when you buy a big truck, you gotta fucking get in there and keep her happy, you know what I'm saying? Can't be fucking around. You gotta get your whole body in there.
I hope you enjoy, because we enjoy bringing it to you. We're your hosts, Captain Berg and Captain Lance, and welcome aboard. All right, what's going on? Guess who it is? You know who it is already. It's Berg.
And this is your co-captain, Lance, and we have a special guest today, Michael Cote. How's it going, Mike?
Yo, how's it going, man?
Mr. Mike, what's going on, brother?
I'm just ecstatic over the intro because I know exactly what video is going on when it's like Lance is like, you got to get in there.
You got to get your whole body
So I'm having
in
a
there.
good time.
Right on. What's going on, Mike? How you been?
Oh, I'm good, man. Just living, wheeling, wrenching, the usual.
Right on, man. So what's new? Well, let's introduce Mike a little bit. So Mike is a recent Tundra driver now. Isn't that right, Mike?
Oh, that is. Just over a year with the Tundra now.
How you liking that?
Dude, I love it. I miss my Tacomas. Like, I really enjoyed the Tacomas, but the Tundra is just, it's just a whole different beast. And it is, it's so much better. It's got its drawbacks, but it's got more pros.
What year is your Tundra?
2016. First year with the big old 38-gallon tank.
And that's the same body style as Lance's, correct?
Yes.
And what year did they start that body style?
2014.
That's right, 2014.
Well, so it's kind of like, like the second gen tacos, where it was second gen from 05 to 15, but in 12 they did the facelift.
That's right.
14 was like basically just a facelift with, some interior changes and that sort of thing. So like 2007 to 2021 was like essentially the same gen. But 14 and up is quote-unquote a new gen. It was third gen, but now that there's an actual third gen, now it's the 2.5 gen.
Ah. And what year's yours, Lance? You have a 20, right?
Yeah, mine is a 2020, which is the first year that they did like the new in-tune system. I got the push-button start, but essentially like a new gauge cluster, but essentially our drivetrain is the same. It's the same truck. Mine just has a little bit more fancy gadgets in it.
Mm-hmm.
You're bougie.
Yeah. And ironically for that, the full-size trucks, the Tundra has no frills compared to the other full-size trucks.
None.
What do you mean?
So like all the technology that comes in like the Fords and the Chevys and stuff, and I mean like, cooled seats and all these fancy gadgets and all the tech, like I guess my truck compared to Mike's truck has a little bit more fancy tech, but compared to the other trucks in 2020, it doesn't compare.
Well, they're optional. The Tundra's got some of that cool stuff.
Yeah, I guess if you do like the platinum or whatever, you can bump it up quite a bit. Mine's the limited, so I went slightly fancy, but not quite real fancy,
Mm-hmm.
Well, I always noticed that about the Tacoma. One of the things that always got me about the Tacoma is the seat adjuster. You can't get an option to have like the motorized seat in the Tacoma. It's just click, click, click. And my short legs, I'm like in between clicks. So one click is too far and one click is too short. And it's just like, what? Can we get a motorized seat? You can get that in a 4Runner, can't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what?
You can in the Tacomas now.
Yeah, the third gens.
Yeah, but
Of course.
Didn't they wait to add that to like 2020 or something?
Yeah, it didn't come until like 2020, and even then, I'm not sure if you can adjust it higher. I don't know. I haven't played with it, but I know they do have power seats in some of the options now.
Yeah, Bree's old Forerunner, which was a 2020, it went up, down, front, back, everything short of left and right.
All the fucking goodies. Oh, there's the F bomb. I was thinking
You know
about.
what? Huh?
Oh no, go ahead.
They say what gets me is the Forerunner, like even all the way back to our buddy Zach has a 2010. His windows auto up and down, everything, all the windows.
I'm
Mine
not.
only has auto down for the front driver.
I'm not. Yeah, that's how my truck is. The
Yeah.
Tacoma has the auto down only on the
Mm-hmm.
driver window. That's it.
Yep.
Yep.
Annoys
So
me.
I know the Forerunners are a little bit more expensive than like the Tacomas, and also it's made in Japan, so I'm not sure if that has anything to do with it. But yeah, always the Forerunners always had the extra frills, almost like factory. Like you didn't have to go too high in trims in order to get like power seats and auto roll down windows and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, my service vehicle, the work truck, is a Chevy Colorado, and it has the auto up and down on the windows. And to be honest with you, I don't like the auto up. Auto down works for me, but I don't like auto up. I kind of, for some reason, maybe it's because I'm so used to my Tacoma that I'm just used to pulling the window up. But for some reason, like, I find that if I want like just a little of the window open, it's like I got to play with the damn thing.
I see that. I was more like when I come, like if I've got my windows down and I'm driving around and everything like that, I get to my destination, put it in park, and then on the Forerunner I could just quickly, tap all the windows up and they'd all roll up and everything would be, cherry.
Yeah.
But then now it's like you got to sit there and wait for them all to roll up, and you can't hold all four levers with one hand.
That's
I mean,
right.
you might be able to. It's kind of annoying.
That's right. Getting all four fingers in there. It's like, that's right. Trying to get all the windows up. And yeah, that's right. Two at a time.
You know what's cool about the Yotas 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 though?
What's
This
that?
this is our complaint. Fucking windows. Sorry about that, Bomberg.
No.
Windows.
If you want. So, all right. All right.
If we were Fords, we'd be like, my engine blew again.
Yeah, exactly. This is, the seat click and the windows. No biggie. But I'm getting home. That's for damn sure. So the F bombs. So the only thing, like, if you want to use F bombs, go ahead. I just noticed listening to the last podcast with Lance, I am saying it like every other word, and I was actually thinking, you know what? Something that we could do to get people to listen to the whole episode is I'll give you a free T-shirt if you count how many F bombs Captain Berg dropped in the last episode, and if you get the right answer, we'll send you a T-shirt.
Oh God.
Well,
It's gonna be like a South Park episode.
sounds like we need people to comment in the comments down there and tell us a count of how many times Captain Berg dropped the F-bombs
How
in
many?
episode 2, I believe it is.
Episode 2. How many times did the F bomb get dropped by the Captain Berg? 100 at least. So I have my little sign right here. I am focused on less F bombs.
So
Good
maybe
luck.
we can see if you can taper off. So as we do more podcasts, the more and more we do, maybe the less and less you'll drop.
Yeah, I noticed too the other day. Just the other day, I was going on a hike, and I was like, "Well, it happens when I start to get into a story. I start getting into story mode, and it's F F F and F F F F F F F F F F F." And what I noticed was, even as we were going on the hike, I thought to myself, "I'm going to practice now and all the time less F bombs." How quickly I forgot that that's what I was doing, and an hour into the hike, I was like, I totally forgot that was my focus, because how we go into autopilot in the blink of an eye, and it's habitual. It's crazy.
Have you ever caught yourself in autopilot while you're like driving to work? Freaks me out every time.
Just not paying attention. Like, how did I went.
It's just, how did I get here? You're just so zoned in.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It happens all the time, man. It happens in everything we do, like everything.
Yeah, we get complacent and we just kind of set autopilot and we just do it.
In my little bubble, my own little world.
But yeah, so I guess, you know, Mike and I kind of have the same journey for trucks as far as going from like Tacomas to Tundras.
Mm-hmm.
And Mike said something in the beginning that really resonated with me because I kind of felt the same way. Like the Tundra is like hands down better than the Tacoma in a lot of ways. There are a few drawbacks, obviously. The truck is a little bit bigger, so it's harder to get down some of those same trails that we know and love and spend a lot of time on. Currently, kind of out of the box with just bigger tires, it's still really hard to do any like true rock crawling just because the wheelbase is so long. But it's one of the out of all the vehicles I've ever owned, it's one of my favorite vehicles, hands down.
You gotta let me.
I'd agree with that.
You gotta let me drive it one of these days, just so I can feel the power between my legs.
Well, the last time I let Mike drive my truck, he ended up with one. So just be prepared for that to happen.
Yeah. Just be prepared.
This is a true statement.
Ooh,
He said, "Hey, I got to run to the store." I threw him my keys and said, "All right, hurry back. Let me know how it goes." And then he came back and was like, "I think I need to sell my truck."
All right, which brings me into another thing. What was your first Toyota, guys?
Lance, you want to go first?
Yeah, I can start with that. So I'm trying to think back years wise. It was my second vehicle, and it was probably in 2002 or maybe three. I had a cream colored 1987 Toyota pickup truck. Standard cab, long bed, 4-speed manual, had like the pleather bench seat. And I just used it because I was starting up a mobile detailing business. So I loaded up the bed with all the detailing stuff, but I drove that thing all over San Diego, fully loaded with a water tank in the bed and, just hitting gears, 4-speed manual on the freeway, just fully wrapped out, pushing the truck so hard. And that thing was just bomb proof. In the 8 years that I owned it, never left me stranded, never had any issues, just basic maintenance stuff. It was a beast, and it was going on like 300,000 miles, and just I worked it. It was a work truck. It was awesome. So that was my first Yoda.
Was that like your introduction? Is that when you fell in love with Toyota and just became the loyalist that you are today?
I would say that made me the loyalist. I think I already had like a thing for Toyotas because my uncle, so like growing up, my parents didn't ever have money to buy like brand new vehicles. My uncle bought a brand new 4Runner, and after he got it, he came over and showed us and took us for a ride. And I was like, this is the nicest vehicle I've ever been in. It was like so clean, so nice, and so in awe. But I was too young to realize like the value and the quality of the vehicle. But right then and there, I was like, ooh, I always want a 4Runner. And then when I got my truck, and I just used it as a workhorse, and it was just bomb proof. I mean, I used to take it and off road it a little bit, and it would go anywhere. It was so much fun.
You said long bed. It was a regular cab long bed, right?
Uh-huh.
And did it have the 8-foot bed back then?
I don't think so. It was a long bed, but I can't remember the length of it.
It was my stepdad had a 1980, and it was a long bed, regular cab. The thing was yellow, and it had an 8-foot bed. And I don't remember if that. I always remember they had the 8-foot bed on it. I'll never forget that, and that was the long bed.
and maybe it was like a standard bed. It was a pretty long bed, but I don't think it was 8 foot. Um, I would say it was probably like a 6.5 foot, which is pretty big for those small trucks,
For
right? That
sure.
thing is tiny, like
Yeah.
smaller than like the first gen Tacomas. Um, so it looked very long, but as far as like today's standard long bed, yeah, I don't think it was. It was not like an 8 foot bed because
Right.
that's crazy long.
What about you, Mike? What was your first Toyota?
2007 Toyota Tacoma double cab short bed TRD off road pre-runner. That's the truck that I met both of you guys with.
That's the red one, right?
Yeah, the red one.
That was your baby,
Yeah.
huh? That was numero uno for you.
That was the first step into my journey of many, many mistakes. Financial mistakes, not life mistakes. But I still remember, like, I was just racking my head to try to figure out, because way back then, I got it new back in 2007, and I had an agreement with my parents. If I was a good kid and kept my grades up and everything like that, they paid half of the bill for the truck. So I paid half, they paid half. I mean, I've been working since I was 13, so I had a job and all that, and what I was driving to and from work was a pile of garbage. But yeah, I picked out that truck because I was like, it's a Toyota, so it'll be reliable. It's just a mid-size V6 truck. I'll get pretty decent gas mileage. Boy, was I wrong. But dude, at first, like, it was clean, pristine. I kept it immaculate. It was my baby. And then one day out dirt biking, my friends took the mud flaps off while I was out on a ride. And I came back and the mud flaps were on the ground. And my friends were like, look, we helped you. And I was so mad. I just remember seeing red. And then, that faded away. And I was like, you know what? This looks a lot better. And then I bought a set of 5100s to lift the front up, some wheels, some 33-inch tires, and ran like that for, it was maybe like 6 months before, maybe a year before I got it into the dirt. But the first opportunity that I had to off-road it, which would have been to take it around one of the dirt bike trails that, like, I grew up riding, knew this place like the back of my hand. I was like, oh no, I don't want to get it dirty. And, like, looking back on it, I regret it so much because I'll never have another opportunity to drive my truck around a dirt bike trail like I did then. But yeah, that's what got me started. Then I went on it might have been Toyota Nation. I don't think it was Tacoma World yet, but I think I was on Toyota Nation and joined up on a on a trip and took it off roading for real, and then I was hooked. Hooked.
Yeah, my story is real similar to yours with the '06. I did that same thing. I put some 5100s on it, put some wheels on it. Didn't go to 33s. I had whatever 31s were on there or whatever. I mean, that was kind of 265s probably, but I did have like BFGs. I knew from my first Tacoma to throw some dirt tires on there. I always had the dirt tires. And but that was the Chili Town, the second annual chili cook-off was my first experience.
That was an amazing trip too.
And that's where I met you, Mike.
Yeah.
What year was that? Do you guys remember?
What year was it?
Yeah.
Probably somewhere around like 2014?
Yeah.
2015?
Yeah, something like that. 2015, something like that, I think. I think 2015.
Was that before we met Berg?
Yeah, that was yeah, cuz you met me much later after after I had some financial after my wallet drained.
We met in 2017, that's right.
Well, by then I had 35, which is funny because I skipped the whole 33s and went straight to 35s. I
Very
don't.
nice. And aren't you back down to like 34s or
Well,
something right
yeah.
now?
Now I'm running 33s only because I realized the wear and tear that those 35s put on the rig, and
Yep.
the wear and tear those put on my friggin' wallet. So I just decided, you know what, 33s will do just fine.
I'm
And
kind of in that boat right now with 37s.
uh-huh.
So, Mike, walk us through your decision to throw 37s on your Tundra with just 5100s up front that are what on the second second ring, I think.
Yeah,
So,
I'm practically stock height right now. I
yeah,
think it's 1.8 inches in the front, stock in the back.
yeah.
Um,
Walk us through this decision here.
so the biggest thing that gets me, like I see it all the time. Everybody's like, "Oh, like you need to lift it more. You need to lift it more." Blah 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 blah. But as soon as your suspension compresses, like you could be on, 3-inch lift with 3.0 coilovers and every bell and whistle. But when your suspension fully compresses, you could be stock height or you could have the big coilovers and it's still going to compress into the same spot. So
Right.
if you're going to clear for a big tire, it doesn't really matter how much lift you have because you want to be able to clear it regardless. So I already kind of knew that I was going to do 37s when I was just on, I thought I'd be on mid travel because I didn't intend to go to 37s this soon, but my fiance Bree got a Jeep Gladiator. She jumped ship after she sold the Forerunner, and
What?
yeah, dude, she's got a Gladiator now.
Oh.
It's green. It's really cool. It's honestly a lot better than I was expecting, but it's no Toyota, so we'll see how it does in the
We'll
long run
see.
if she keeps it. But
She got Megan in her ear, huh?
100%.
Uh-huh.
Oh man,
She
wait till
jumped.
they hear this.
Uh-huh.
Well, I mean, it was a talk from the start. She was like, "Well, I could get a Jeep Wrangler, and me and Megan could be twins." And I was like, all for a minute. I mean, I was kind of opposed to it. I was like, "You should get another Tacoma. You love your Tacoma. Go back to a Tacoma." She's like, "No, I want to try a Jeep." So then I tried, persuading her into the Jeep Wrangler because she started looking at the Jeep Gladiator, and I was like, "Oh no." At least with the Wrangler, like we've got the room in the back for our dog and yada yada yada. But then she got her heart set on a truck, and now she has a Jeep truck. But her Jeep truck needed wheels and tires, so we got a deal on a set of methods. And then she needed tires, but we already blew the budget on the truck and the wheels. So we took the. She doesn't trust used tires, but I have no problem doing that. And I'm fine with that. Now she has a nice, safe set of tires that we know the history of. But I was scrolling, Vilmont and Craigslist and OfferUp and the forums and all that sort of stuff, just looking for like a good deal on a set of 35s. And every now and again, I'd get like a wild hair up my ass, and I'd look for 37s. Well, I found this set of relatively fresh 37s with wheels for $1,200. I was like, oh, that could work. So talked him down to $1,100. Got the wheels and tires, flipped the wheels for $850. So I ended up $250 into a set of 37s that had 7,500 miles on them. You can't beat that.
No.
And that is how I
Yeah.
ended up with 37s.
And did you give Bree the tires you had on the Tundra? Is that what happened?
Yeah.
You put
Oh, yeah,
those
yeah,
on the
yeah.
Jeep.
So the tires from the Tundra went onto her Jeep.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the things that Mike is very, very good at is he's very good at scouring the internet and finding the best deals on every part for any truck you need, which is awesome if you're looking for something, but very bad if you're not, because then you're like, ooh, I really want that, and that's a great deal.
Yeah.
One of the things I noticed Mike is super good at is finding those good deals and building a really, really good, very capable rig from like used parts that are just like solid used parts, not anything that's been like crazy abused or anything like that.
Yeah.
And it's super
Not
tight.
thrashed.
He can build kind of on a budget, but build a solid, capable rig. And I'm just like, man, if I had the time, so I know he sends me deals that he doesn't want or can't get at that time. So I kind of get the second hands, which is great, but I really got to start looking for myself because he knows all the corners of the internet stuff I don't even know about. He already knows. He goes, "Oh, I was over here looking at this. There's some upper control arms," and I'm like, I don't want to spend money. Stop.
Baller on a budget.
But keep going, but stop.
Dude,
don't do it. Keep going.
Half the stuff I got on my truck is baller on a budget, man.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. But a lot of the stuff I got like hand-me-down stuff. You know, the homies hooked me up with some stuff. But I mean, it's funny because just recently I put some new, I spent some money on some new stuff. So, but I still have the baller on a budget going.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I just picked up.
That's the way to do it.
I just picked up some used hammer hangers off of JV. I'm stoked.
Ooh,
that's tight. Didn't JV just come out and visit you in Arizona this past weekend?
Yeah, he was out here doing the family thing for Easter, and I actually went over there yesterday and hung out with him and Betsy and little Wyatt, and we barbecued, and Betsy's family came over a little bit, like her cousin and his wife and kids came over, and we barbecued and hung out. And I grabbed the hammer hangers off of them.
When I'm messaging JV, when I'm messaging JV, I'll refer to him in capital J and capital V, and then I'll refer to Wyatt in a lowercase j and a lowercase v.
Oh, little, yeah. Little JV.
Very nice.
JV graduated to the varsity then.
Hey, kinda.
Yeah, man. So recently now too, I just sent an email to archive because I didn't know this until so let's see. Let me talk about me for a little bit. So I recently upped my leaf pack because I was running the All Pro standard pack and it was not cutting it with all the weight that I was putting in the back. So I got the Old Man Emu Expedition Pack, which I like, which gives me, I can carry all the weight and maintain some height. But I realized the baller on a budget icons that I had on the back were like 0 to 1.5 inch. And so I was pretty sure that once I put this Expedition Pack on, I needed longer icons. So I went ahead and sprung for some brand new icons for the rear. I got the 1.5 to 3 inch icons, and when I put those on, I noticed while I was under there that the leaf pack is now grinding into the Tacoma factory shackle, which I had no idea was an issue until then. So now
I think it's I've seen that before. I think it just goes. I think it kind of grinds into it to a point, and then stops. I don't think it's actually caused any catastrophic failures. You can continue. I just thought I'd throw that out there. You're not in immediate danger.
No,
as far as I know.
I think you're correct. I think it just sort of grooves it, but I don't know if there'll be any failure. It is a little disconcerting though. I mean, it's like
totally.
The overall strength of the shackle. Again, I went on archive as per JV's request to go onto the hammer hanger thread and looked into that. But I went ahead and I sent an email to archive just asking them if their shackles, because I think that their shackles will clear and will fix that problem. The only thing is that it doesn't look like on the website that you can actually just buy the shackle. You have to buy the shackle with a set of hammer hangers. So I asked them that question. Do your shackles clear this? Will it resolve my issue? And if so, can I just order some shackles? So we'll see what they say.
He should. He's a super cool guy to work with.
That's Eric, right?
Yeah. I had a bumpy start with that guy on the forums.
Oh, it happens.
Yeah.
What happened? No.
Oh. Dude, this was years ago, like right when those things came out. And somebody had made a thing, like a post in one of the threads, and it was like, hey, like, should I get the BAMP ones or the archive ones? And I think I made a post saying something along the lines of like, I really don't know much about the archive ones, but I know that they changed the geometry. So since I don't really know about them, I would go with the BAMP ones because they retain the stock geometry. And then he came in swinging like, why would you be recommending, BAMP because you don't know about mine and yada yada. And I flat out told him, I was like, because I don't know about yours, like educate me on it. And then that's why I said it was a bumpy start, because after that, like, he had explanations and questions were going back and forth, and it was really good and like really informative. So we had a good time.
So
but,
does it change the geometry?
Yes.
A lot?
No, just a little bit. He basically changed it to work better with the lengths of aftermarket leaf springs. Like with those old man emus, like there's different bolt slots that you put the bolts through to secure those hangers to the frame. And I think for the emus, you have to move them like one notch forward or something like that. And it's supposed to be, kind of like the best positioning for the old man emu leaves. Well, so like it's pretty cool how well thought out he has them. And I had no idea.
That's only on the newer versions though, right? Because like the ones that I got off of JV, they don't have that extra slot. They're just factory replacements. They only have the 4 slots. They don't. I think
you're gonna have to ask Eric, or you're just fucked, bud.
I'm just gonna throw them on. Fuck around and find out.
Yeah, they correct the geometry, and because I talked to him for a while when I had my 3rd gen, because that was one of the next things that I was going to do to my truck, and I spent a lot of time on the forums reading and talking to him. And regardless of where you put them, I think it's going to be better than factory, and it'll be stiffer, and you can buy the cross tube to kind of stiffen everything up too. And now they have one that goes a high clearance cross tube.
Yeah.
And I would recommend it 100%. Even if they have a newer version that's better, these ones will still be better than factory.
Yeah,
without a doubt.
I'm stoked, dude. I got them for half the price of brand new. So I mean, you can't go wrong.
That's what's up.
Baller on a budget.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if I can fix the shackle problem, I mean, it's good to hear you say though that there hasn't been any catastrophic failures, because a lot of what I saw on the forums were, well, just cut the leaf. And I'm like, I don't know if I want to cut the leaf off. That seems a little bit. That
seems like a worse idea.
Yeah, I was going to say that seems a little sketchier to me than having the little groove in the shackle, because it's only at the front. I mean, it's not very much of the shackle.
No.
Yeah. Well, that's good to hear. No catastrophic failures, but it doesn't.
That I know of.
Yeah, exactly.
Just throw that out there.
Disclaimer.
Yeah, put the asterisk next to it.
Don't listen to us. We are not professionals.
Yes.
Just cut Fucking leaf off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Disclaimer. Do what you think is best. Don't follow us.
All right.
Back half the whole thing.
Yep. Cut the fucking leaf off, dude. You'll be fine.
Yeah.
So how did you guys meet?
Yeah, I was gonna circle back around to that, and I'm gonna let Mike answer this one because I don't know if I remember exactly.
Oh, what a good friend.
I know, Lance. So I'm if I remember right, we met both like pre. Berg, have you heard of the dirt bags, the dirt bag garage, and all that?
Yeah.
So before that, it was a different. Like they had a different name for their little group of buds that all went wheeling, and if I remember right, Lance and I were both a part of that, and we went out to Valley of the Moon, and we're wheeling and camping and that sort of thing, and that's where we met. But we didn't really know each other. We just both happened to be at the same place at the same time. And then not long after that, we went and ran Sidewinder together.
That sounds correct. Yeah, that was Yota Overlanders.
Mm-hmm.
I
Is
think they
that
changed. I think they changed names a couple times,
is
but yeah,
that
that sounds about right. Now they're dirt bags.
that's who they were? They were the Yoda Overlanders before they were the Dirtbag Garage or Dirt.
Dirtbag
Yeah,
Garage.
Yeah, that's
yeah,
right. Okay, I
Mm-hmm.
remember the Yoda Overlander. I remember them. I remember
Yeah,
that.
I still have one of their patches.
me too.
Yeah, there was. I remember that was I came down with Maya to a Fiesta Island deal and met the Yoda Overlander dudes, and I remember one of the dudes had an FJ. I think he was an FJ dude, and he ended up selling that FJ and getting a Chevy Colorado, I believe.
Yes.
I I can't think
I
of the
used to follow that guy on Instagram.
I can't
Phil. His name was Phil.
Phil. That's right. That's right.
Convisor or something.
That's right. He was one of the Overlander dudes.
Yep.
That's right. Okay.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, we did that. We ran Sidewinder. We jacked up Lance's bumpers on his sweet third gen, and then the rest is history.
What?
Yeah,
Which one is Sidewinder? What's that?
So that is out in a place called Coral Canyon.
Uh huh.
Um, it's a real short trail. I think the whole thing was a couple miles, if that. But it's one of those trails where you get through an obstacle, and then you have like the opportunity to blink 3 times, and then you're at the next obstacle. Each one, kind of getting progressively more and more difficult. Nothing too crazy, but you got to have nothing bigger than a Tacoma. Like there's very little chance that our Tundras would make it through there, and especially now because the rain has actually done a number on that trail because the my most recent Tacoma. So I had that red one, the 2007. I had that one for almost 11 years. Loved that truck. And then made the switch over to a 4-wheel drive second gen. And when I sold that truck for my Tundra, the kid I sold it to, super enthusiastic, real excited to have, like kind of like the whole build done. He can just kind of tweak some stuff. And last I talked to him and his dad were building, a DIY GFC, one of those camper shell wedge rooftop tent dealios. So super stoked that it went to an enthusiast. But anyways, he took the truck on Sidewinder and came to my house to pick up, I think, like the title that had shown up or something like that. And the passenger rear door was dented in and scraped. The bedside was dented in and scraped. He lost the bedside caps. Like he did some damage.
He had some fun.
And even another buddy that I know can wheel also ended up with some bedside damage on Sidewinder because it just got so narrow and so tippy.
Is Sidewinder the one you see all the pictures of where you got to kind of go down and around that rock? That's kind of an off-camber deal.
It has a real steep rock that you come down, and as soon as you get to the bottom, you already have to be turning right to kind of exit it.
Is that the one? Didn't one of those Yoda Overlander dudes flop his rig on that trail?
No, that was Bronco Peak.
Oh, that's right.
Same area though. Same
that's right. Okay,
same network of trails.
Okay, that's the obstacle that I'm thinking of. That big rock, and you have to go around it. And I think more than one vehicle has flopped there.
Probably.
No, you're Bronco. That's it. That's right.
Bronco Speed,
same area though, Coral Canyon. Okay.
So in my Tacoma on the third gen, when I banked a corner around that big rock, it actually pushed the bedside in, but it pushed it right where the fender flares were at. So I pulled a good old mic and found a white set of fender flares on OfferUp for very cheap. And I pulled them off and I just popped the bedside out. It literally just like form memory just popped right back where it should have been. Put those slightly used fender flares on, and just one, and it turned out phenomenal. And then I turned around and sold the other 3 plus my damaged one, and it only cost me like $50 or whatever, and my truck looked brand new again.
Yeah, man.
Oh yeah.
So, Mike, you were telling me about Chilitown and how you kind of helped locate that spot or something?
Yeah. So, I don't remember everybody that was out there, but I know like Maya and Danny were out there, and I was good wheeling buddies with Danny way back then when his truck wasn't quite so ridiculous as it is now. Because now he does hard shit,
The
and I wasn't
Frankenrunner.
ready. Yeah, the Franken runner, and or dead on arrival runner.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, no, we had gone out to Joshua Tree and we were just kind of scouting. I mean, it might have been for like in specifically for that Chilitown thing, but I don't remember 100%. We might have just been scouting out for like a great group campsite to
Yeah.
bring people to.
It's
And
a good spot.
we were out somewhere off Gold Crown Road, and Maya and Danny just went for a quick run out in the morning, and came back and they're like, "You guys, you have to come see what we found." And that's what I meant. Like I was there. I was a part of it. I didn't actually find the spot, but I was with the group of people that went out and found it.
Gotcha.
And dude, it was awesome. We used to go out there all the time. It was totally undisturbed.
So what I wanted to ask you about your tailgate deal, since I sent you the pictures of my little tailgate and stuff, and I was wondering what you came up with and what you might be thinking about doing. You still thinking about doing a swing gate?
Uh, Dude, for sure something. I mean, I've got a 35-inch spare that's tucked in underneath the bed right now, but I've just had my fingers crossed that I'm not going to get a flat and end up, all cockeyed or whatever, rolling around on 337s and 135.
Yeah.
But it's not like I'm going to be starting on it next week or nothing. I don't have my welder set up where I'm at, and I've got a shoulder tap to use welding supplies and all that. But I was also talking to my buddy Kyle, who has like it folds down like a tailgate, like a fold down tire gate tailgate dealio.
Yeah.
So I'm sort of torn between the swing over version or that fold down version. I mean, both are going to be great options. I'm going to do one of the two, but I also want to, keep it working as a truck because I have to put stuff back there and haul stuff and carry stuff around. So I want to make sure that I'm not limited. I wouldn't want to be driving around with my tailgate swung open.
Yeah, for sure. And I've found, so mine, I've had the operator error, but the idea is if a couple of times now I forgot to screw the fucking thing closed, and I've driven down the road and had it swing out, and it's actually bent. One of the hinges is bent, and that is why the sheet where it's bolted into, the little sheet metal right there, has a little tear in it now. And
Yep.
somebody warned me about that when I bought the thing, and I was talking to a guy before I moved to AZ about modifying that thing for me, and he was like, well, these things are really cool, but you get a problem where it'll tear the sheet metal on the sides. And he was talking about that with, like, I don't know, like a Dodge or some big full-size truck. And so I don't think that would have happened had I not, and that's happened to me a couple times now, where you can hear the thing slam, and then I'm like, damn it, dude, I forgot to friggin'.
Yeah, so when Mike was telling me about, building some sort of tailgate option, I told him to reach out to you, Berg. And I also did warn him because I've been with you through kind of the trials and tribulations of that swing out, and you've made some modifications to it, and you've had some problems. So I made sure and told him to reach out to you. But I've also seen the kind of like tailgate style that he's talking about that Kyle does. And that's a really cool option too, because I got to figure something out myself, right? And for me, I sleep in my bed, so I still need to keep my tailgate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I got to figure out something too. But yeah, like it's hard. You have all these wants, and you also you have limitations, right? Because if you want to keep it working as a truck, or if you need the tailgate still on, it creates all these different dynamic, and it also affects how the suspension works and everything. So it's a game to play, you know.
Yeah,
Oh, for sure.
that's because I recall, because the piece that I bought off of Tacoma World, and it was all one piece. So you bolted the thing in and out. So the guy who made it, he obviously didn't have anything, like he didn't have a rooftop tent on the back. So he could just throw crap in and out of the bed. He just wanted a spare tire holder. And so when I put it on there a couple times, I unbolted it and let it swing down, but the tire would hit the bumper, so you couldn't get a full swing. So I'm just curious how that problem gets resolved if it's a fold down like that with the big ass tire on the back. How does that work?
Yeah, that's been into consideration too, because like I so he fabbed up his truck is a second gen Tacoma double cab short bed that he's running IFS, but he's got 39s front and rear locked, and he built a 4-link for the back. So his truck is a monster.
Yeah.
But it also has, a lower profile rear bumper. The last truck that I saw him do one of those drop down bumpers on, same kind of a deal. It's got, a high clearance but low profile rear bumper on it. I've got a stock rear bumper. I don't have money to replace the rear bumper and add a swing out and do all this bullshit. Like, I want to, obviously, but it all comes in pieces and stages. But it's kind of trying to find that nice balance or dance of how high do you have to mount the tire so when it swings down it doesn't hit, versus trying to keep it lower and keep the weight, more in the bed and not levered off the back. So I haven't built anything yet. One, because I don't have my resources here, but two, I don't know how it's going to all fit just yet.
Right.
I mean, chances are I'll build like a big cardboard cutout of of a full size 37 by 12 and a half and kind of try to position it back there and see where I can make it all work. But on the center top, I guess just center of the rear bumper, there's a big cutout spot where there's, like a step pad and your license plate and the trailer plugs and all that.
Yeah.
I'm hoping the way that it finishes, it just lands the spare tire right there. So the tire is actually what's stopping the tailgate from going down, and I guess pressing on my license plate. I mean, it might mar it up a little bit, but that's not that big of a deal.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah.
So the 35 fits underneath on the Tundra.
Barely.
with some modifications. I had to cut my guides off, but yeah, it fits. It tucks up there pretty nicely.
I mean, that's the same.
I sledged my guides down.
With the fucking big hammer, huh? The BFH.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's the same issue with the Tacoma, right? You can fit a 33 under there, but you can't fit a 35, correct?
Bingo.
But you do have to modify the Tacoma. You have to cut some of those things out of there to get the 33, right?
Yep. It exactly the same deal, just, one size scale up.
That's interesting. That makes me well, because the reason I did that was because I had the 35s on the truck. And so I was running around with the 35 in the bed of the truck. And I was like, well, when we go camping, I have to rearrange everything around this 35-inch tire. And so when I saw that tailgate situation, I was like, ooh, this is the business. It was like, I got it for $100 on Tacoma World. And I was like,
no shit.
Yeah, I got it for $100.
That's a score.
The modifications now, that was a little bit different. But I mean, in the end, I think for $600, and my buddy and I got to chop that thing up and make it swing. So I mean, Wilco makes the tailgate, and that thing's like $1,200. So again, half price, Yeah. And it's my own design, and kind of, I don't know. It was a lot of fun with my buddy. Yeah. So I mean, DIY. But now,
a lot of times that's the way to do it. It's fun.
But now that I've gone down to 33s, I'm like, well, technically, I guess I don't need that thing anymore. I could stuff the 33 up underneath, but I don't know. I like the gate. It's fucking looks cool.
and you got your trasheroo on there and everything.
Yeah, it's not going anywhere.
No. And it looks cool.
Yeah.
You can never doubt the look cool part.
At least I get my truck dirty. I'm not parked at the mall. I mean,
There you go.
I do park it at the mall, but you know.
Yeah, it's a daily driver. Got to be there sometimes.
Yeah, that was another reason I wanted to go with a better leaf pack, was because that tire isn't that heavy, but you hang it on the back, you're putting leverage on it, so it might as well be a 200-pound tire with the leverage.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, I noticed that. I just recently took the tent off of the truck, the bars off the truck, and when I did that and I started running around with these leafs on there, the back end of that thing was so stiff, I thought my teeth were going to fucking come loose. Just and so I took the 35-inch tire, the spare that I took off when I got 33s, and I threw the 35 back there with a 25-pound an extra 25-pound weight that I have, like a weightlifting weight. Threw that inside.
Yeah.
So I have the 35-inch tire and a 25-pound weight in the back, just so that I can compensate for taking the 10 off, and it's a much nicer ride now.
Yep.
And I think those hammer hangers should help with the rigid ride too.
Yeah. They should make it a little bit more compliant.
Yeah. Oh, I can't wait, dude. That's gonna be.
Yeah, have you been a part of drilling out those factory rivets?
I hear they're a nightmare.
Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and talk about yeah. No, I've heard the stories.
Good luck, brother.
So I think if I was you, and the drill bits are probably pretty expensive, but I would probably try to buy like 3 drill bits and like the best material you can buy, and just pray
and get some cutting oil.
Just pray.
It's cutting oil. Yeah, do all the things.
Well, I was talking to JV about it, and he said they ground off the rivet heads, and then just got a BFH.
I've heard of some people being able to cut off the rivet heads and use a punch and hammer them out. But I think what I've seen with experience is that people will be able to hammer out maybe one if they're lucky, and then the other ones you got to do. I think either way, you still got to do some drilling.
Well, if I don't, again, Archive sells the bits. So, and I don't know what kind, but I mean, Archive Garage sells bits. So if I end up getting some shackles from them, I can get shackles and bits, I'm still saving. I'm probably still saving a ton of money. I don't know how much they're going to want to charge me for just the shackles, but I probably imagine that I'm still saving money. I mean, I imagine
without a doubt.
Yeah. If I got, like I said, I bought the hangers from JV for $250. I ended up selling my old uppers for $250. So pretty much I mean,
you did a trade.
Yeah, exactly. So if I technically I'm just going to buy some shackles and some drill bits, I'm still kind of ahead of the game. I mean,
yeah.
I don't know. I went with that. That was one of the things I bought recently that was brand new. I bought the Icon Delta joint uppers. So fuck it.
I ended up with Delta joints. They were a pain in the ass to put in, though.
Were they?
Yeah. Yeah, the spindle gussets on the Tundra basically made it so I couldn't get a socket or anything back there for that nut.
Uh-huh.
And I was doing it solo, so trying to wedge, and I bought them used, remember? I got a set of used billet upper control arms with the Delta joint so I can do alignments from the upper control arms.
Oh, that's right.
Which Lance and I did a number on that thing. It was just fantastic.
Yeah, we were talking about that. Yeah, you were telling me about that when you were asking me about the tailgate.
So I think Berg, last time we talked about like what's next for Nimitz. And I was looking into suspension and stuff like that, but it might be a while. But there's one thing that I forgot to mention, and we can chat about this here, is that I did pick up a set of solid off-road, solid motor mounts for
Oh,
the
that's
truck.
right. You were talking. Yeah.
And so I have them, and I have them sitting in the box, and I like, he does like small runs of those things, and I was just like, what could I do to the truck? And I was on the forums, and I just jumped on it. He was like, I got a set, and I was like, okay, let me go ahead and get these. So I ordered them. They came in super fast. I mean, I think I got them within like 2 days, and I think he just pulled them off got them from the powder coater because they smelled like fresh paint, everything, and I was all pumped. And and then I was going back and like reading about like installs and stuff like that. I kind of already had done some like light research on it, but then I kind of started getting scared because my truck is my daily driver,
Yeah.
and then I'm worried about vibration in the cab. So I was just like, and he doesn't make a solid transmission mount for our trucks just quite yet, but he claims that they're pretty stout, like they're pretty rigid already.
The factory
still,
one.
yeah, it gives a little bit, but not too much. And so then I was kind of thinking, well, that might help. Like it maybe won't get as much vibration in the cab. But then I think there was two guys that were kind of saying something about how they were getting quite a bit of vibration in the cab, and I never saw like an answer or anything or like a fix for it. So now I got like paranoid. So now I got these solid motor mounts sitting in my garage, and I'm scared to put in my daily driver because I don't want to,
Well,
You don't want to do the work twice to take them back out if you don't like them.
Yeah,
that'll be fun.
So there is a lot of flex in the 3rd gen or 2.5 gen Tundra motor mounts, but the real issue comes when you start jumping them. And since I'm not jumping my truck at this point, I figured I'll just hang on to them for now until I feel the time is right to throw them in. But definitely, if we're going to be out off roading your big Tundras, those motor mounts for sure need to be replaced. I've seen a lot of them online where people were jumping them and they were breaking, and a lot of times it pulls in the frame, and then you got to put the truck on the frame puller and pull that frame back out, and creates a lot of problems.
Well,
or you get like the fan going into the radiator and stuff like that.
that was a concern. That's another thing that I always forget about with the Tacomas. I guess there was an issue with the early Tacoma, 2005 for sure, and I think halfway through 2006, where those motor mounts, the frame behind the motor mount was caving in on people.
Yep.
But
What's his name? That happened to Jose. I think his name's Jose.
I think Toyota fixed the problem halfway through 2006 and reinforced that the frame behind the motor mount. I don't know which version I have. Actually, Maya told me about that, and I think it's DMZ Fab who makes a gusset or something that you can weld in. That
sounds right.
Yeah, that helps. They're not that expensive. You need a welder to do it. I don't know. Yeah. I don't know. So far, I haven't had any problems, and I don't see any cracks in there. And I think my guy, my dude, would have let me know if there was an issue. So
yeah. So they're just sitting there, and every now and again, I look at them and I kind of go, "Do I just want to put these in and just say screw it, or
yes,
do I want to wait?"
Yeah, fuck it.
And every time Mike's like, yes, just put them in. We'll figure it out. And I'm like, yeah, my expense.
We'll figure it out.
Hey, I'm the test dummy for the 37s, and you're the test dummy for the solid motor mounts. It's only fair, Lance.
The 37s on 5100s.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah, which is wild because I have the same 5100s, but mine's at the top notch, and I have 35s. But I don't really have any rubbing. I mean, I rub my bedside. We both rub our bedsides, but
yeah. But when the what did you say, Mike? When it settles, it settles. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, dude. When it's full stuff, it's full stuff.
Yeah, full stuff.
Regardless
Lance,
of how much lift.
stuff it, Lance. Just stuff it.
Yeah. But I also have the Duro bumps up front, so I think mine is bumping a little bit sooner than yours, Mike. You're still on factory bumps,
Yeah, factory bumps.
and I don't know how much taller they really are, because I know they're kind of like a progressive soft, so it'll probably collapse still pretty far when full stuffed, but I think it's bumping it a little bit sooner than the factory.
It's okay. I'm pretty sure the tire bump stops off of the top of the wheel well before I hit my bump stops.
So when
Just
you,
yeah.
when you,
Berg, do you know the trail out near Fish Creek when you cut along by the railroad tracks?
yeah,
So I was out there a couple weekends ago, and it was like the maiden voyage with the 37s into dirt, and it's pretty bumpy. It's got its rough spots, but I'm flying through this thing, going 40 to 60 miles an hour, and through some of the corners, like I would be just going through the corner, and just from like the G forces into the corner, I could hear the tires rubbing the top of the fenders. Not like the exterior part of the fender. I mean, like engine bay, interior wheel well liner part of the fender. So I've got all these rub marks up on the top. And that's the problem that I ran into on my Tacoma when I was running too big of a tire. I'd stuff up to the top of the wheel well.
oh yeah,
And then you got a tub shit. Now I got a tub shit.
oh yeah. I had that same problem with the 35s.
The 35s.
Yeah, for sure. But I was also, so on your Tacoma, you were running the lift spindles up front, right? Max tracks.
Yeah, I had those on my red truck, my 2-wheel drive.
Yeah.
But on that truck, the biggest, well, actually, I guess it would have been the same size, 295 7017s. Because I didn't hit the top of the wheel well on my red truck, but running that same size tire, 295 7017, which is like 33 and a half.
Yeah.
I'd rub the top of the wheel well on my white truck because I didn't have any spindles on that since it was 4-wheel drive.
Well, so far since I've gone to 33s, I haven't noticed it, but the 35s hit all the time. I mean, when I stuffed it, I stuffed it. They were always rubbing. Actually, one of the problems that I found, or one of the issues I had, was I put a second battery in on the passenger side on top of the wheel well. And so the little contraption that I had made for it, the bolts were coming through the wheel well, and my tire would stuff into those bolts. And that was,
oh no.
Yeah. So it would, you know what I mean? I kind of had an issue with that. But I ended up fixing that. The dude that helped me build my tailgate helped me build another little rack to put the battery on, and so that kind of switched up. But yeah, definitely that it actually ripped off. There are some of those weld-in, dude, I always forget the name of that shit.
Like nut certs, like welded in nuts.
Yeah, the welded in nuts were in there, and those got ripped off from stuffing the 35s into it.
Oh no.
Yeah, that's what. So then I had to come up with something different, because it loosened the bolts out, and the bolts would come out, and then it ripped those weld nuts off, and so then there was nothing else to hook up. So I had to come up with a different situation for the battery.
It's a Toyota. You probably zip tied it in and everything's been fine.
Some zip ties, some duct tape. It's funny because I've been thinking about actually getting rid of that second battery, because I don't know if I actually need it. And then my mechanic guy, he was like, "Dude, I don't know why dudes put in a second battery, because then they end up running around with a dead second battery."
Yeah.
Yeah, and we don't go camping long enough to need like an extra battery, where like you're in one spot for a long time.
Yeah, and I sort of just really, I guess my whole idea with it was I would run all of my extra lights and accessory, all that stuff, off of the secondary battery, and just have my battery be the battery that runs the truck. That was kind of what I was going for, but in the end, and then now I think what so what I'm having now is my winch is now running off of the secondary battery, and I think I lose power in the winch without the winch being hooked up to the alternator. And so I'm concerned that that's why the battery dies so much, because every time I run the winch, it's running off of that battery. And so I also think that I probably get more power out of the winch if the winch is hooked up to the alternator. The winch will actually probably function properly.
Yeah, and I do like when we go to camp and like you'll set up like some extra lights or Christmas lights or something. I mean, there's benefits to having that extra battery because then you're not worried about the truck dying, and you can run all these lights when the truck's off.
Well, if I want to do that, I can do that. I think what I would do though is put the battery in the bed. Do a battery box, put a battery in the bed, run my accessories off of that battery, and then just trickle charge it when it when it runs out. And that would be a sufficient alternative. And then I could free up that space in the And another thing I think is that battery is probably eventually going to tear that wheel well. That wheel well is gonna start to shred. I know that the driver's side is already shredding. I think that's called the core support, and I think that's a common problem with. That's all part of the core support. It's all of that interior sheet metal, and I know because I cut and hammered part of that stuff out so that I could remove the bolt to put the uppers in. And those where I hack them and whacked them, I know that is starting to, those tears where I cut into the wheel well to get those bolts in and out, those tears are starting to spread. So, I mean, you got to pay to play.
Yeah, pay to play. You could do a stop drill hole. Like drill a little hole in the top of the crack, and it should, with some luck, stop it from spreading.
Really, I didn't know that. That makes sense. So just go to the end of the crack, drill a hole, and that'll stop the crack from continuing.
Yeah, like not a huge hole or nothing like that. Just a little bit bigger than what the crack is, and just drill that because then it doesn't have such an easy tear point.
Okay, that's a good idea. Hey.
Here we are, solving the world's problems on Yotas 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 podcast.
Episode 3. Episode 3. Tune in while we fix the fucking world.
Yeah, like and subscribe for all your answers to all your problems.
Drop a comment and let us know how the drill hole crack separation worked.
And how many F-bombs Berg dropped.
Dude, it's way less. It's way less, I think.
Yeah. You could probably count on 2 hands this time.
Yeah, let's
maybe 2.5, but
yeah,
maybe you should spice it up just a little bit.
Ah, fuck! Yeah. Come on,
bring it back,
come on. Oh man, I'm reminiscing again. Chili Town is coming into my head, and I'm thinking I won second place, dude, on that chili cook-off.
That's what's up.
I think you provided the award. I think it was the first place award that you provided, which were some LED lights.
Oh shit!
LED
maybe
blinker lights, and the dude that won couldn't use them on his rig, and so we swapped. We did a switch. He's like, "Berg, you can have these."
Shit.
Yeah, I still have those. I never used them. They were like they weren't for the blinkers. They were for the running lights or something. I don't know.
And the biggest thing that I remember from that trip is somebody brought a projector and a generator and the movie Tremors.
That's right.
Yep. And I remember sitting in my camp because, like, as a kid, like, I used to go to Tahoe all the time with my friend's family. And for whatever reason, it was super cool. They had a big Suburban, like an old one, in the 90s. And we had a bungee corded TV onto the center console that, took VHS tapes because it's old school. And dude, pretty much every time we would watch Tremors on this 4-hour drive from the Bay Area out to Tahoe. So like now here we are, fast forward in the future, watching Tremors out in the desert, nearby where it was filmed. And I remember I was so stoked, and then I fell asleep and I woke up at the end.
That's funny. That's funny. There were two movie, because we were there 2 nights. So Tremors was one night and then something else the other night. I'm pretty sure. I don't remember what the other movie was. I do remember that. That's right.
I don't know what the other one was. I just remember being so pumped to watch Tremors and then so disappointed that I slept through it.
So I got another story. I got another shit story. Lance, you're going to love this. I'm sure you've heard this story. So when we went on that trip, so that's how Lance remembers me, Mike, is me taking me having a run off of Cleghorn. I got to shoot down to the McDonald's and take a shit. And I'll be back. I'll catch up with you guys.
Oh, no.
And then the next day, so that was how Lance and I met. So we ran Cleghorn that day. And then the next day we did B Canyon. And that same thing happened. They all started taking, I was like, I'll be back. I'm going to go take a shit. And so, I mean, that's when you play the Game of Thrones.
That's his iconic move. And that's kind of, I mean, other than being a cool dude and letting me use his radio and being Berg, just like super animated and friendly, it was the shitting that really stuck. I'm like, this guy just shits all the time. He don't care. We're in the middle of the trail run. He's like, over the radio, hey guys, I got to pull off. I'll catch up later. And then he comes back like 10 minutes later hauling ass. He's like, all right, guys, I'm back. And I'm just like, this guy's wild. What's your phone number?
So
Lance got those hard eyes for you.
Yeah.
So Chillytown, I bought these trash bags, and I thought it would be a brilliant idea to get these lavender smelling trash bags so that when you took a crap in the bag, it wouldn't be that bad. It would be
sounds terrible already.
And Maya was like, dude, that's going to be the worst idea that he goes, that's a horrible idea, dude. And so sure enough, as we're leaving camp and we're driving back, inside the cab of the truck are these lavender bags. And I pull over, and no, Lance, I didn't have to take a shit this time. So I pull over, and the guys are like, what's going on? I was like, dude, I have to get rid of these lavender bags out of the cab of the truck. And Maya's like, why? Because they smell like shit? And I go, yes. He goes, I told you that was the worst idea ever. And so there was no shit in the bags, but just that smell from the whole weekend of shitting in the lavender bags. It smelled like that to me. It was just like, I gotta get these out of the truck right now. Maya was laughing his ass off because I told you that was a bad idea.
Yeah.
Or now,
That's
whenever
awesome.
I see those trash bags at the store, I just think, oh no, no. Just get regular bags. And that after that trip, from that point on, I cut the hole in the bottom of the bucket. So now I use the bucket with the hole in the bottom and just dig a hole and put the shit in the ground where the shit needs to be.
Well, now I have a new thing where every time we go camping together, I'm going to bring lavender trash bags and just stash one in your truck. So thank you for this,
Here
Berg.
we go. Here we
Maybe
go.
going home, what's that smell?
Maybe I'll stuff one in the pillowcase. in your tent.
Mike.
Ooh.
Like and subscribe. Leave a comment about your favorite smelling trash bag, and for a chance to win a handful of shit.
Actually, I'll have to ask the listeners in the comment to give myself and Mike good ideas on how to get Berg in relations to shits, whether that's a lavender bag in its pillowcase or whatever. Give us some good ideas down there in the comments.
Here we go.
I would love that.
Yes, please leave a comment about shit bags.
Shit somethings.
Stay
You started
tuned.
this, Berg.
Stay tuned for episode 4 when we talk about shits. So that could be another ongoing topic is favorite place to take a turd.
Yeah.
Oh, I know the answer to that. At the least convenient time possible.
Ugh. Lance and I talked a little bit about this on the last episode too. I have a favorite place. I have my favorite place to take a shit in the entire world. Well, thus far, because this is the best one I found so far. So
I think it's our same spot. Like that's my favorite spot too. Like hands down. Like it's when we go up into Sedona, and every single time Berg, as soon as he jumps out of the truck, he finds a level spot and he grabs the throne and his shovel and he finds the perfect spot before anybody could get it, and he sets it all up for us.
yeah,
I
man.
consider it.
Yeah, man. And then when you wake up in the morning and you gotta go, and you walk over to the bucket, and I was like, just walk around the bush, you'll see the bucket, and you sit there, and I will continue as the sun breaks, and you're looking down at Carousel Rock from the top of Schneebly Hill Vista, and you're looking down, and you're just letting everything go and watching the sunrise over this beautiful scenery. And let me just tell you, everything goes according to plan.
I don't think I've ever seen your bucket. Are you like the pool noodle kind of guy, or did you actually get a seat and attach it to a bucket?
Oh no, I got the seat, the full toilet seat with the lid and everything.
Damn, you're fancy.
When you play the Game of Thrones. That makes me think of I missed that dude. I haven't seen him in a couple years. Pray and Surf.
I'm seeing him on Saturday.
Nice, dude. Yeah, I haven't seen him since 2 supers ago.
Is that Dirk?
No. Tim with the first gen.
Tim, first gen Tim. Yeah, Pray and Surf. And that was a couple supers ago. And we were all sitting around, and in the morning you're watching everybody take off up the hill, to go find their spots. And I opened up the theme song to Game of Thrones. So someone go up at a bum bum ba bum ba bum ba bum. When you play the Game of Thrones.
You know what's tough about that? Having to pack up that whole damn RTT before I can take the truck to go find a good spot in the morning.
Yeah, that's just what I do first thing in the morning. And the thing I enjoy about that is actually putting the RTT up actually kind of gets you going. You brew a pot of coffee, so you're sucking down your coffee, and you throw that RTT up, and you get your body all ready to go, and then I'm ready to go. I was telling Lance that's one of my out there at Super. That's one of my favorite things to do is run that. I guess it's called the Sand Highway. It's the run out to Sandam, but without turning up and going up the hill to Sandam. Just run out there, turn around, and come running back. I love that little trail, dude. It's so fun.
Mm-hmm. It's a good one for sure.
Oh, Mike. So then we'll ask you, Mike. Favorite trail? What's your favorite trail?
Oh shit. That's a great question. So I don't know, man. I think the trail that was like just hands down like the most has stuck in my memory was running John Bull. That was nuts. And I really want to do it in the tundra because I think it would look ridiculous to have a full-size truck going through that trail. But I don't know what the name of it is, but probably the most fun that I had was like the first time I went out into the desert down here in SoCal with my pre-runner. Some guy at my work was like, "Hey, you want to come out to the desert?" I was like, "Sure, I've never been. Let's go." And he just took me on a bunch of random stuff, but there was a trail that just had these like beautiful S turns going back and forth one to another. And I was just linking up drift after drift going through those corners. And that hands down was like the most fun, but I don't know what it is. I haven't found it since. That was probably my favorite.
I think, have you done, so Lance and I talked about this last time too, which is one of my favorite trips is Joshua Tree. I love Joshua Tree.
Love Joshua Tree.
But running Thermal and Pinkham Canyon is the back way into Joshua Tree. And it is, we call it Pinstripe Alley because it will stripe the shit out of your rig. But
Yep.
I don't know why, but I love that run. As soon as you get into
Dude,
Thermal
it's good.
Canyon, yeah, I mean, it's kind of soft, nothing crazy, but you can just boogie through there, and
Hmm.
and I don't know, it's super fun. And then on the way back, so going uphill is fun, but when we're coming back, you're going downhill coming from Joshua Tree, and you can haul ass through those, and you're just hauling ass through the tight little, through all the bushes and through the turns. Like, it's so much
Yep.
fun.
Is that I think I've done that route in once. I know I've done Purdue a bunch of times and I've come in on Gold Crown a bunch of times. But is Thermal Canyon and Pinkham where it lands you at Geology Tour?
Yes.
Yeah, dude, that was a good time.
It lands you at the back entrance, which is Cottonwood Springs,
Okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
which is the southern entrance into the park, and it's behind. So it's at Dillon and the 10, which is where you go to get Purdue. But instead of going up to Purdue, you cut off at this. You cut off at like a concrete factory. It's a little service road, and then you take the service road, turns dirt, and you follow that service road. There is a rest stop in between Dillon and the 10 and Scirocco Summit. There's a little rest area there, and right behind that rest area is where Thermal and Pinkham both start. Thermal Canyon is just behind that, or actually, Pinkham Canyon is just behind that rest stop, and about a mile or two before that is Thermal Canyon. So you take Thermal, and Thermal links up with Pinkham about halfway through, and then the rest of it's Pinkham, and then it changes from like Pinkham Canyon's like a wash. And so, well,
Hmm.
they're all washes, but then the wash, you
Yeah.
empty out into the wash and it becomes more of a hard pack. And then that runs you all the way to that southern entrance into Joshua Tree. And then from there, you kind of get on the pavement and then you run that over to the bottom of Old Dale. And then you take Old Dale up into the mining district.
Hmm.
It's one of
Yeah,
my,
and that trail is a super exciting trail. And last time we were talking about Berg, taking that trail, the difference between taking it in my Tacoma versus my Tundra, especially down Pinstripe Alley. Um, and then, so I kind of wanted to ask you, Mike. I know you've run some of the same trails and stuff. Does it like a whole new dynamic for you to run the Tundra down the same trails that you ran down in your Tacoma?
Uh, the desert stuff it all kind of feels the same in a sense. Because I looked it up the other day. I think the Tundras are 5 inches wider than our Tacomas, maybe six. I don't remember exactly what it was. So it's not terribly different out in the desert. Um, but I'm real anxious to get it through some of this narrow stuff and see all what changes. I know, like I went through Diablo just the other day, and my buddy Zach, was behind me, and where I had to kind of slow down and pay attention because I was, pulling in mirrors and all that sort of shit. He was like, "Yeah, we had tons of room, but like you had inches." So I
Hmm.
guess it definitely has changed things quite a bit, but the truck just feels so natural that it doesn't feel crazy different. But in hindsight, it's definitely got the width and the length.
Yeah. Desert wise, it
ooh,
almost rides smoother, right? Because it's got the
Oh yeah.
longer wheelbase and so it feels better desert wise. But yeah, when you get into those smaller trails, that's where you really start to notice, like, oh man, it's getting tight in here.
the
Yeah.
length and the
But in
width.
general, the big truck drives phenomenal. It drives really good.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I wanna take us back out to Gunslinger and run that and see how it does on a narrower trail and run gold. And
Hmm.
I don't know who I'm gonna be able to talk into doing Holcomb and all that, but these big girls are going through there.
Well, we talked about that. We talked about Lance running some of that stuff in Joshua Tree, and I noticed that. I didn't even think about it because obviously I'm running the Tacoma still, but some of that stuff like the OK Mine Trail, there are some pretty tight little washout areas, and I remember. I mean, Lance went through them just fine, and there are also some some shelf roads, and I remember thinking, well, Lance got to be just kind of squeezing a little bit.
Yeah, you just got to pay a little bit more attention. But I think, like I said last episode, you just get to feel the truck and you start to, really understand how it operates and how to get it through the trail. And I haven't had an issue yet. There hasn't been really too much where I haven't been able to do so.
No.
But you just have to pay attention a little bit more when the trail squeezes down a little bit, and sometimes use a spotter. But otherwise, it's pretty good. It just changes it a little bit.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like you saying that only like 5 or 6 inches width is not that much, and most of the time on a lot of those trails, even in the Tacoma, there's like 2 or 3 feet. It seems like you're hanging off the edge, but there's feet in between us. So 6 inches, if there's 2 feet, 6 inches is still a foot and a half. You know what I mean? But I think it's probably the length that gets you. The wheelbase, especially if it's something like a washout or something, then you really got to kind of maybe pay attention and get, around it a little bit different. I think.
For sure.
I think in my head, when I think about the Tundra, that's the thing. Like, not so much the width, but it's the length.
Yeah, I mean, back at the very beginning, I had mentioned, there's some pros and there's some cons to everything for sure, but the pros of the Tundra are just so great. But to that aspect of width and length, yeah, it's got its drawbacks. And while some parts of the trail might be plenty wide, you get on something that's kind of off camber and it could pitch the cab towards some rocks or something like that, you would have missed just fine in a Tacoma, but gotta be extra slow and cautious in one of the Tundras.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Still wouldn't trade it, though. I love this truck, man.
Same.
Well, so we didn't actually talk about, since we're all captains now. I don't know if Lance knew that we named. I named Captain Mike's rig.
No, what did you name it?
The Ranger.
Mm-hmm.
Another aircraft carrier.
Yeah, buddy.
Dang.
So
very nice.
What's up?
I know Mike was struggling to find a name, just like I was. So I think, it's very fitting.
So I think from now on, when the three of us get together, we just got to be, hey, Captain. What's up, Captain? Hey, Captain. What's up, Captain? No, you're the captain. No, I'm the captain. No, you're the captain. What's up, Captain?
Aye, Captain.
Aye, Captain.
The Ranger.
The captain of the Ranger. And the Ranger's an old school carrier. Submersible,
Makes
I believe.
sense. My truck's a little older than Lance's.
I met a dude that was stationed on the Ranger. He was a cool dude, came over aboard our ship, and he was one of those dudes that was always happy, just smile on his face all the time. Like, we've been up for 27 hours and we're back on the flight deck and he's just happy-go-lucky. And I was like, dude, what's your deal? He said to me, and I'll always remember, he's like, look, dude, you can either be happy or you can be miserable. You can love it or you can hate it. And if you hate it, you're going to be miserable. So you might as well love it, right? And I was like, yep. And he always said, I'm from the Ranger, dude, the first and only submersible aircraft carrier.
Wow. That's pretty cool. I like that. That's a good story.
All right.
Thank you, Berg. Appreciate you.
Love it or you hate it, man.
So is it Captain Berg, Captain Myrick, and Captain Cote?
That's it.
There we go.
All right. Black Pearl, the Nimitz, and the Ranger.
Yeah.
There you have it.
Roger that, Captain. All right, gents. Well, I think maybe we could call it. It's been fun.
Absolutely. It's always a pleasure to talk to Mike, and appreciate you jumping on the pod and having a chat with us.
Yeah, dude. Thank you guys for having me. This was a total blast. Appreciate it.
Yeah, you're welcome, man. I had a good time, and we'll definitely get you back on again. And all right, guys. thanks for joining us for another episode of Yotas Yotas Yotas. I'd like to thank Captain Mike for joining us. Please like and subscribe. Leave a comment. Count the fucks. And maybe you'll get something. Maybe you won't. I don't know what the fuck we're doing.
Yeah, who knows what we're doing. All right, Captain Myrick out.
Later, captains.
Later.
See ya.